Hello and welcome all. Today I'm tackling actually some easier problems. I want to go back to my roots a little bit. I couldn't even do a single easy problem, and I think I've come a long way from there. But it's definitely interesting to kind of go back to see like what my thinking process is now compared to kind of what it used to be. I would take like pretty much all day to do like an easy problem. So let's see how I could tackle this one now. This one is called Equalize the Array. It is an easy difficulty problem on HackerRank. Let's check this one out. Given an array of integers, determine the minimum number of elements to delete to leave only elements of equal value. So for example, an array of 1, 2, 2, 3, you delete the two elements 1 and 3, leaving just the two 2s basically. Because if you were to just keep a 1 or a 3, you would have to delete, you have to have 3 deletions. So you're looking for the minimum number of deletions. Yeah, they have another example here of like an array of 3, 3, 2, 1, 3. You need 2 deletions because the 1 and the 2 needed to be deleted. So the way I want to like reinterpret this phrasing, because it's a kind of long-winded way of saying that you're basically looking for the item that repeats the most, and you basically kind of delete everything else. So get the count of all the unique elements, and then just get the total of everything that's not the highest count, basically. I'm curious if there's a possibility for there to be a tie. Well, I guess it doesn't matter if it's a tie, right? So no, that kind of answers that question. All right, so let's check this out. How would I code that out? I'm coding here in Python, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop through the array once. I'm going to keep a running count via a dictionary and take the high. Should I just keep track of the highest count? Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is loop through the array, keep the dictionary as the count, and then I'm also, while doing that, I'm going to also keep track of like the highest count so far, and then at the end delete the key for the highest count, and then just run a sum on everything left in the dictionary after that, because whatever's left over is effectively the stuff you're going to delete. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm going to keep dictionary of counts and then return sum of remaining counts. So I think that'll be big O of n, because you're looping through the list once, and I think another big O of n for the summing potentially of a list of basically the same size at worst case. So let's do this. Let's see what we can do. So this is the counts. I'll keep that as a dictionary there. Keep highest count. So this highest count item. Loop through list to take, I guess I need to also keep track of the highest count, which is currently kept in the dictionary, which is a lookup, which is a constant time, so I could just do that while looping. So for item in array, we're going to say, so we're just checking, so if counts, so if item in counts, or I should say not in counts, we're going to add it. So I'm going to say counts item equals 0, and then we're going to increment 1. And then we're going to check to see, then we're kind of like checking if highest count so far, right? And it won't matter if there are ties, because the number is going to be the same given the math. So I don't need to like see, are you equal to or greater than, it doesn't really matter. So here, let's say, well, first we need to get the previous highest count. So this is the previous highest count, which is going to be from counts versus the highest count item. And here we do our comparison. So if this is less than our current count, then our new highest count is that item equals item. And we just keep doing that. So I just want to get a print out here of what this looks like, or I guess I could return it. So return counts at this point just to kind of see what we got. So I'll run some code just to test it out. It says none, key error none. Right, because the first time I go through it, this is none. So I just want to say if the highest count, this is maybe not the best idea, but anyway, if highest count is none, then you just assign it to whatever the item is. That's only going to happen the first time though. Whatever. Okay. Or should I just assign to the first item, period? I guess it's safe to assign it to the first item. Yeah, I think I'll do that instead. So let me because in the end, the first time you run through it, the first item is itself going to be assigned here, and then it won't count for itself, and so it'll effectively be assigned one step sooner. So I'm going to say array 0 to like instantiate it with that first value. Okay, here we go. We got 3 3s, 1 2, and 1 1. So this looks good. So now all I need to do is go back into the dictionary and just delete that. So I think it's del, is that right? Del counts and then the highest item, whatever that is. So we're deleting the highest item from that. How do you delete from actually I don't do that often. So Python delete from dictionary. Do pop. Okay, so I can pop that. Okay, I think I'll do that instead. So let's do, instead of delete, because I think that's kind of like a little, that's using like garbage collection, I think. So let me just pop that item, and then I return the sum of the counts, which is counts.values, and I think that should just work. Let's run the code. Hey, let's submit some code. Oh yeah, looks good. All right, that was not too bad. So I want to go over the time complexity for sure. So each item in the array, that is big O of n. Okay, so this is just a comparison on a dictionary, which is basically constant time. Your assignment is constant. All this is constant time. Popping is constant. Summing across a collection, this is going to be big O of n. Worst case scenario, that would be like every value is unique, basically. You know, n minus 1 technically, but you drop the constant. So this is time complexity of total equals big O of n plus big O of n, which equals 2n technically, which you convert to just, you drop the constants and you just get big O of n for that. Back in the day, I would have tried doing the actual deletion on the array itself, instead of thinking more abstractly that, like, what is the question actually asking for? And that's a skill that I had to develop, taking the question that you're given and rephrasing it in a different way that makes sense to you. Because this thing sounds one way, but if you actually look at what you need to do, you kind of realize you don't need to do all this like complex shifting of items in the array or deleting them, like, or copying them or anything like that. So I think that's one skill that I definitely had to develop and realize, like, really use on coding challenges, as well as coding interviews. That ability to like take whatever you're being given and then rephrase it really does help solidify your understanding. And then what's nice is on the interview, you can check with the interviewer and say, hey, I'm going to rephrase this in my own way. Does that make sense to you? And they'll tell you like, oh no, you actually got your understanding was this, or you assumed something and that you didn't realize. So it's really helpful to have that like rephrasing. So that's a skill to definitely worth developing. Anyway, folks, if this is the content you like, please make sure to like, subscribe, do all the good things, and I will see you next time.